This episode of the Party Loaded podcast is proudly sponsored by Audible.com. Check out their awesome catalogue of audiobooks with over 180,000 titles to choose from. And be sure to grab a free audiobook on us and support the show by visiting audibletrial.com/endgame.
Let's party.
Welcome back to Party Loaded. It is time for episode 32. It's Tuesday the 28th of June. We're all sitting here getting nice and cozy, getting ready for another show. We're here to talk about video games as per usual, and we've got a few people to do that with tonight. Reprising their roles as ever, we have Imogen. Hello.
Hi, friends.
Good evening. We got Ollie.
I'm getting bitten by a dog.
Nice. All right. I'm not going to even ask where. Let's move on. Now, as we mentioned last week, Jam is sadly not able to join us tonight because she is off down south, basically getting filthy drunk. So she's putting the load in Party Loaded, which works out perfectly. So we thought about who we could get to sort of step into the breach, and as it turns out, we know a guy, but it's not just any guy. It is, in fact, Mr PAX Oz himself, Mr. Guy Yug Blomberg. Welcome, mate. How you doing?
Hello, thank you very much. I believe my title for this podcast is actually Temp Jam. That's who I am?
Yeah.
That's correct, yeah.
It's your title for the episode and also a forthcoming band name once we get our act together and actually put some tunes together. I think that'll work perfectly.
I think it's perfect. It makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to have to buy the domain name now just to make sure I make money out of this.
.com.
Yeah,
I feel tempjam.com is probably taken, and if it's taken, I really want to know what's on it.
I'm almost with you, but I really don't want to know what's on it. I'll probably put my safe search on before I even attempt that one.
Safe search always on.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, anyway, we got a lot to talk about tonight, and fun times. Really great for you to join us all the way from Sydney. So it's currently a couple of hours ahead of us over there, so you're getting into the deep evening, and you're already a little cozy, aren't you? You've been out already tonight?
Cozy, I like this. You're saying this. Oh, you're a little cozy, aren't you? You're feeling pretty good, are you?
Setting the scene. Yep.
Yes, I've been out. A couple of friends who are engaged, so we're out celebrating. So I feel this is appropriate. Most of the podcasts that I've done recently or in my time are usually inebriated in some way, shape, or form. So I just wanted to be genuine on your show here.
Yeah.
So here I am in all that glory.
It's funny, actually. A listener of ours recently commented to me looking at our logo, which basically shows like a game loading bar, that he was really frustrated with our logo for the show because it's where the party is getting loaded, but the bar is never full. So, I kind of felt like I'd let him down at that point, but, you know.
You let everyone down, Luke. It's okay.
Thanks, Ollie.
Oh, buddy.
Can always rely on you, mate.
I just feel the need to actually jump in here and say tempjam.com is actually not taken. And I'm looking into this now. Without the hyphen, with no hyphen, it's available. So while we're talking, I'm actually going to try and register this.
Excellent. We're going to do it live. We're launching a new business right here live on the show. And
I hope you're ready for this. Like you guys,
I'm going to start hashtag TempJam on Twitter and see what we get.
Yeah,
you need to commit to this really. So I'm not just registering this for no reason. Like I want to see what you're going to do with it. Good
God, this Pandora's box is something I had not prepared for tonight. We're opening it up. Oh, good God. All right. Well, anyway, aside from Temp Jam and everything related to that shenanigan, we got quite a bit of stuff to get through tonight. And obviously, because you're here, Guy, we want to basically, stick the screws in and tap your brain for all of the good stuff about what you do on a day-to-day basis and a little event that we like to attend every year called PAX Oz.
By all means. Yeah, I've heard of it. Yes.
Yeah, you may have heard of it. It's happened a few times. It just, it seems to fall out where we happen to be in Melbourne at the same time each year. So
convenient. Yep.
It is convenient. Actually, I will say, and we should probably do it justice up front, it's probably fair to say that were it not for PAX Oz, our show would not exist as it currently is.
True. It's true. You are in part responsible for this madness.
Yeah.
I feel both. Yeah, I feel good and guilty about this at the same time, which is a wonderful feeling to have.
We'll see how far we can stretch that guilt by the end of the next hour and a half. So.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, so we just should mention to anyone who doesn't know who you are, you're known for a few things. Just a few, just a small laundry list, and we'll get the full skinny on what those things are as we progress through the opening segment for the show. But one of the things that most recently you've been involved in is a little podcast by the name of Game Hugs, which we have been listening to quite a bit, in which you interview members of the games industry or people in the computer sort of space and people that you've worked with over the years. Now, I wanted to sort of give you the opportunity tonight because you get to interview all these cool people, but one of the travesties of your show is that you never find yourself in the interviewee seat. So we're going to turn the tables and get you to actually play that role yourself tonight. How does that sound?
All right. Yeah, we'll see how we go. I mean, that's one of the beautiful things, isn't it, about running a podcast or doing an interview, is you're not the one that needs to be interviewed. So well played. Let's see how we go.
Play of the game. I'm picturing the Overwatch sound effects right now. All right. Awesome. So okay, let's kick it up a few notches of difficulty because you've done this a few times before. So we're going to get you to introduce yourself as a haiku without using the letter E. Go.
Oh, jeez.
No, I'm kidding.
Jesus. Why?
My person is Yug. I like... No, fuck!
Did pretty good.
That was a valiant effort.
Pretty good.
That was a very valiant effort. All right.
Yeah, if I was completely sober, that would have just come out like a professional. But you caught me off guard.
No, nice. All right. Well, let's say that's going to be the last time, and then totally break that promise in half an hour. So, anyway, Guy, let's give you the floor, mate. Who the heck are you? And can you introduce yourself to our audience with a bit of a digest version of the Yug story? So, tell us all about what you've been doing.
Yeah, sure. So, my name is Guy Blomberg, also known as Yug. I am the content manager for a company called ReadPop. ReadPop, we run PAX Australia and Oz Comic Con. So, I like to talk about the content of a show as being everything except what you see on the exhibition floor as your traditional sales and things like that. So all panels, all community, all content, all guests, and that side of thing across PAX. That's what I do now. But I've got like about a decade of history in the gaming industry, from stupid and crazy ideas like video game cocktail bars, and I used to be a journalist at one point for a website called Australian Gamer. I worked for Sega and Orin as a game developer. I worked for MCV Pacific as the B2B publication for the games industry as a marketing and sales manager. I've just kind of bounced around in various entrepreneurial states with various degrees of success or failure, all the while making great contacts and kind of leading up to this particular point where, I'm now running the largest video game event of the year. It's great. It's a giant party and I love it.
Nice. And I guess that's something that you also have become fairly well known for over the years too, as being a bit of a host with the most when it comes to your ability to plan and execute a pretty awesome party. So can you tell us a bit about that? What's kind of been your history with running events, whether it be public or private, and how that's kind of been a passion that's led you into where you are now?
It's kind of funny. I mean, people that play video games have always been perceived as the antisocial, stereotypical pasty white fat nerds in their parents' basement and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I've always believed that, the term of a gamer or people that play games is so broad and wide. And of course, these days it's a lot easier to prove that. But back in the day, before SingStar and the Wii, it was still very much the domain of the geeks. And so I used to, as someone who loved games and gaming, but also was a terrible alcoholic and a nightclubbing kind of jerk, to be honest, back then. Let's be honest. I used to have a lot of parties, and I would specifically like to subvert a lot of these gatherings and parties, having them in the big popular nightclubs in Australia and whatnot, but only inviting people who were geeks, nerds, and gamers. And that concept kind of grew through the website that I ran, where I'd run like exclusive events for the geek and gaming community, through to, of course, doing the Manor Bar, a video game bar, which in itself was a gaming and geek event every single night of the week, to kind of expanding that to the PAX, which is tens of thousands of people. Thankfully, it's just one one weekend of the year, so I can focus on that a little bit more. But it's a wonderful thing to actually look back like 10 years ago and see that those crazy booze-filled parties that I was doing for Geeks and Gamers back then that gave me the skill set and the knowledge to actually grow to the point where I'm now capable of running this large-scale event. So I guess the moral of the story here is any kids listening, play a lot of video games and drink a lot, and you could be successful like me.
Don't listen to our podcast.
Solid message.
Oh, man. I mean, I'm feeling a lot better about our show name just right now, just quietly. So.
Perfect. I feel very appropriate.
Nice. No, it's awesome. It's funny, actually. Like, I remember back to hearing the announcement about the Mana Bar closing down, and I was really sad when I heard that. I was like, oh, God damn it. That's something that, I was probably a little bit too... stuck in WA or too young at the time too young is probably a filthy lie, to actually have a chance of getting over and enjoying. But then, PAX sort of happened, and I was like, well, I don't feel like I've really missed too much of an opportunity after all.
It's, the bar's closing down. This is the thing, man. Like, there's been so many, I can't possibly go into them. So many crazy ideas and business concepts, and it's surprisingly easy to actually start a company and open a business. Trust me. And surprisingly easy to fuck it up too. The bar's closing. That was disappointing, and that was upsetting. But it was also inevitable from the way things were actually running. We expanded way too quickly. Thankfully, I moved to Sydney with the intention of opening up a third bar, and kind of got a little bit distracted. Thankfully.
Yeah, just a little bit, bit.
And you started a trend. Now they're everywhere.
Oh my God, it's fantastic.
It's insane. We even have one in Perth. It's so exciting.
You do. I know. I love going. Every time I'm over there for Oz Comic Con, I make sure I'll pop by and say hi to the guys. And internationally as well. I've been on a couple of panels at PAX shows over in the States with other gaming bar creators and things like this, and there's so much variety now, from people who have made almost sports bar, esports bars, to tabletop and video kind of bars, and like it's fantastic. And most of these people, they actually they talk to me and they hit me up and they're like, what, we wouldn't have done this if we didn't hear about the idea of the Mana Bar, and that is a feasible and possible thing. So that's very gratifying, I feel, to have been part of the venue that started that international movement.
I guess it also helps that a good portion of your clientele are probably less likely to be, roid raging drunk jerks. So you might
less likely.
A little less likely. Yeah.
Actually, just to very, very quickly, one of my favorite scenarios, because we opened up the Mana Bars. If anyone listening is from Brisbane or Melbourne, we opened up in Fortitude Valley in Brisbane and Fitzroy in Melbourne. These are the areas that are surrounded by your other bar, they are drinking districts sort of thing. They're not casual areas. And I used to love it because there'd be your nightclubbing jock dickwads kind of thing, like walking by the front door, and they'd look in, they'd see video games, and they'd keep walking. They're like, oh, whatever. But there'd always be like one or two guys in that group that would like double take back and look forlornly towards the bar. It's just like, yeah,
I like games.
Yeah. Oh, well, ditch your friends, mate. They're the wrong crowd.
Exactly.
Yep,
right.
that's right.
And that's the best part of it. Ours is the Respawn bar, which is actually in a big sports bar. And the best thing about it is that when we went the last time, I just get a feeling like people kind of wander up sort of accidentally and then go, actually, I can drink and play games up here. Yes, I will stay.
Acceptable.
And it's the best part. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And they're not even serving Kool-Aid, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So, no, it's good. Well, the whole PAX thing is a pretty massive part of the story over recent years. I wonder if before we sort of dive into that, because we'll probably talk about it for most of the night, let's talk about Game Hugs first. So, this is something that's, you've gone for, it was late last year that it began, am I right? Kicked off?
Kind of late last year, beginning of this year, kind of thing. I'm used to doing lots of different projects at the same time. I like being busy. I think the worst thing that one can possibly be, rich or poor or happy or sad, I think there's nothing worse in the world than being someone who's boring. personally. And so, like, the idea of actually, I know a lot of people in the gaming industry. I've spent a lot of time learning everyone's deep, dirty, dark secrets and whatnot. I can turn this into something good and positive, and I can pull people into a podcast to actually ask them about their history for the benefit of maybe up and coming people that are looking to get into the gaming industry, or just to hear the history of some of these people. I mean, you don't realize it, when you think about like some of the journalists or if you're within the industry, some of the PR people or marketing people, the history they've had bouncing around, working for different groups, and especially coming up through like the 90s or early 2000s. They're just such good, juicy stories that I feel need to be shared and told. And it's a very rewarding experience to do, and hopefully to listen to as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of the interviews that sort of come across as a large collection of almost unsung heroes in a lot of ways. So the people who don't necessarily get to share the spotlight as much as some of the marketing people, or some of the known names in development, or your company heads and that kind of thing. But they've got really passionate projects that they've worked on, and they have a story to tell that it maybe has never been heard before because they've never been thrust into the limelight in that kind of way. So it's fascinating to actually listen to some of those really a different take on it. And it's great that you, as a sort of conduit to that, have worked with a lot of these people, or have sort of encountered a lot of these people over the years, and it's almost like a natural nexus for it all to just kind of happen. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, look, honestly, man, run a video game bar and you'll meet everyone, and you'll also get like a lot of great stories that you can hold people to ransom with. You need
come on my show or else, yeah.
Yeah, you need to come onto my podcast. Otherwise, I'm going to post those photos that I took of you at my bar.
Nice. Nice. I'm going to have to travel more if we're going to get that kind of leverage.
I should probably clarify, that's not what happened on this podcast. I've come on voluntarily. This has been a wonderful invite. Thank you very much.
No. It's all right. Checks in the mail. No, you've had some pretty notable guests on already, though. I mean, people who follow gaming in Australia will probably recognise a number of the names, but even people who don't will probably know the likes of, Robert Koo. Tony Reid is one that a lot of people know. Anyone who's been interested in gaming for a while in Australia will probably know Jeremy Ray, or Junglist, as his alter ego is sort of known. So of all the people that you've had on currently, looking ahead to, maybe the people who you would love to get on that you maybe don't know quite as intimately, who is kind of on your superstar hit list to get on to your show in future? Have you got like a Wales list that you're working towards or anything like that?
It's funny. I kind of do pick people for this podcast that I know in some way, shape, or form, or have known for a while, because I feel that the format of it needs to be, it's not like I'm a random journalist like picking a developer to actually interview them about their product. It's about them personally and their personal life. So it does help if I've known them a bit. So I'd say my hit list is people who are friends of mine that I've known for quite some time, but are quite prominent and significant in the gaming industry. But I'm barely or rarely in the same city as them. So I'd say like the top three on that list would probably be Chris Avalone, developer who's used to be with Obsidian Entertainment, is a good friend of mine. Bertie Burns from Rooster Teeth is a good mate, and Randy Pitchford from Gearbox Software. That's probably the three who I've actually asked, and they're all keen. We just need to be in the same goddamn city, which is quite difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, at least you get to travel a little bit with your role in Australia, so it opens up the doors slightly. But then, for some, like Bernie, for instance, you'll probably have to rely on him coming over here for RTX or something like that. So.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, man. Maybe one day we will be in the same city, in the same bar, and I'll have a microphone and we're good to go.
Yeah, you'll have a microphone, you'll have the sealed manila envelope with the pictures.
Yes, good point, yes. No, I've got them all on my phone. We're good. We're good.
Nice. So, outside of, that kind of relationship circle that you've got with those people, and obviously your day job, are you involved in any other sort of ongoing work in the Australian games industry you can talk about, sort of behind the scenes?
Nothing I can talk about just at this particular point in time. There's a couple of charities that I'm involved in that are working to start up. I can't go into them yet. Other than that, like I organize. I don't know if I should say this. I organize a couple of gatherings of the gaming industry, which are I like running events. I like creating events, especially in bars.
Doesn't sound like you at all.
I know, right? But I tend to actually facilitate a lot of gatherings of people to get together and just catch up. I believe there's a disconnect between your publishers, journalists, developers, distributors, streamers, YouTubers, where a lot of the time we're a small industry, but we don't really cross paths as much as we should, except for large events like PAX or maybe, gaming award shows or whatnot. And I think that's a shame. I think we all have like similar interests and, a lot of stories to share. So the more opportunities we can actually have to catch up and hang out, the better. Funny enough, actually, gaming bars provide a fantastic point for that. Obviously Respawn over in Perth is a great stop for that. And down in Melbourne, whenever I'm down there, there's a Beta Bar and Bartronica and all this kind of stuff. I like bringing people together in particular ways, especially within the gaming industry. I think it's quite beneficial for everyone.
Yeah, big creative melting pot of great ideas and great people.
Yeah, or just everyone getting drunk, really.
Yeah. Melting pot of other sorts.
Creating companies, those types of things, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, all right, well, let's move on to your actual day job then. So tell us a bit about ReadPop and how they sort of operate. How big's the team? What sort of stuff goes on day to day that you end up doing? What's your work like there?
You want to know all about the behind the scenes of the sausage factory. Wow. Well, ReadPop is this massive group at the international level that run Comic-Cons and PAXs and a whole bunch of events. So based out of Connecticut over in the East Coast of the US, we do, what are some of the big ones? New York Comic-Con, Star Wars Celebration, TwitchCon, the Star Trek 50th anniversary event in New York, Emerald City Comic-Con, and then like a whole bunch of events internationally. So we do Comic-Cons in India, Shanghai, France, Singapore, Indonesia, and of course Australia. So in Australia we've got PAX Oz, and we've got 5 Oz Comic-Cons around the country. So it's a fairly big group, but the great thing is a lot of us are very tight. I mean, 3 years ago when PAX Oz first happened, Australia was like the first international branch of ReadPop. PAX Oz was the first successful international ReadPop show. So we've got a very tight relationship and affinity with the guys over in the US, and I've been to a lot of the shows, the New York Comic Con and all the PAXs in the States, and we all work together quite a lot, which means I'm able to get like a lot of that international content and flavor to the shows over here in Australia, which is super exciting.
Absolutely. I did notice, actually, sort of looking around and doing some research on ReadPop, that you appear to be one of the only people who didn't appear on the staff list on their site, and I was wondering if that was actually intentional because of the Australian connection. But
no, I'm just slack. I just haven't gotten them a photo yet. Sorry.
I haven't done my headshot.
Yeah. That's a lot of research, man. I'm just lazy.
Fair enough.
Quite flat out, yeah.
If only there was some photo of you in an event somewhere that could be placed delicately into a manila folder.
Yeah, those photos don't tend to go on staff pages on professional websites. So, yeah.
Maybe they should. Make people more relatable.
Maybe, but not today.
No. Well, I guess if you're in charge of doing those updates, you've got pretty good control on the lever there. So
that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So, I mean, working with people overseas and in the US particularly, obviously you've got a close relationship running with Penny Arcade over the last few years, with running PAX and everything like that. So, how's the level of contact with them? And is it a regular collaboration, or is it a once in a blue moon when something crops up, or is it you're actually on the end of the pulse with them all the time? How does that kind of work?
No, I'm in contact with Penny Arcade every day. Mm-hmm. I've got most of them on Messenger, and I'm talking to them, pretty much every day. I mean, they are the ones that know how a PAX needs to run over in the States. They've been doing this for the better part of a decade. I had a great experience when I was first kind of starting up on PAX. I went over to the States and worked out of the Penny Arcade offices for about 2 months, which was awesome and eye-opening. I got to know, most of the guys there, guys and girls, really, really well. So yeah, I know. Look, you're talking to someone who 15 years ago started a gaming website that was literally, our tagline for it was to be the penny arcade for Australia, where I would draw a comic 2 to 3 times a week, and my colleague Matt would write the article. We were trying to be penny arcade. Yeah. Oh my god. So much. So, when the opportunity came about to do PAX, and I literally got a phone call from Robert Koo at Penny Arcade, grilling me and being like, well, I don't know. But yeah, it was a very validating experience. So the whole time I'm working on PAX, even to this day, I am a fan of Penny Arcade. And to be working on the show, I'm exceptionally grateful. But it's very important for me to keep that communication, there every day, to find out what new things they're doing over at the PAXs in the States. And there's just, I can't even go into it. There's so much that goes on and goes in the background of making a PAX. It is totally justifiable to be even more than a full-time job for this 3 days of the year. It's insane. Yeah. But quite necessary.
And I mean, on top of that, you still manage to find time for all the Comic Cons and all the other extracurricular activities as well. So it's
yeah. Don't like to be boring, man. Don't like to be boring.
Nice. The Twitter feed that you sort of maintain and post on regularly, I happened to catch a tweet a couple of weeks ago now on it where you sort of mentioned, it's going to be a long week. And I was like, oh, okay, something interesting is probably going on. And then, of course, within 48 hours, I think it was, we saw the post about Robert Koo's resignation from PA. And I was just like, aha, that just clicked.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Has that been a big impact this month? And what sort of changes is that going to bring for you and PAX Australia, if any? What do you see the sort of ripples happening from that?
No, man. We'll find out.
Yeah.
Look, Robert is... I'll be completely honest. Robert is actually one of my good friends, and has been for many years now. And him leaving Penny Arcade is, it's a blow. It sucks.
Yeah.
But in the same respect, it's Penny Arcade is in a good state, and PAX is. I think he was kind of like leaving it at a particular point where it's like everything's good, everything's good, and this is an opportunity for him to move on. But PAX Australia is still, there's so many people behind the scenes that actually make a PAX, from Penny Arcade to Reed Pop to the enforcers to all the community groups that actually bring everything together to the attendees that come to the show. It's such a huge thing to actually wrangle. It's only going to keep getting better and keep growing. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think, while it was extremely sad news from our perspectives too, I think we all sort of turned to each other and thought, everything's still in super safe hands. So we were, absolutely confident that everything was going to continue on, really, really, massive success regardless. It wasn't going to be a showstopper at all, which is...
Oh, yeah. Look, Robert's the smartest guy I know, man. Like, this is all... I wouldn't say going according to plan, but, like, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Necessary for growth and evolution and all that fun stuff. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, it was big news, and we talked about it a little bit in our podcast last week, that I've been a Penny Arcade fan for a very, very long time. And so when I saw that tweet, everything just stopped for a moment. And I just thought, okay, breathe. It's going to be fine. It's all still going to happen. It's still going to be Penny Arcade, and Robert will still be there in some capacity. It's going to be fine.
It was full on, actually. There are a bunch of people, especially with the enforcer community, which is very tight with obviously PAX and Robert Koo and whatnot. And people were posting things that were really, really devastatingly sad to them and everything like that. It's like, hold up, guys, he hasn't died. Like, he's okay. He's okay. He's just, but yeah, looking moving on to other opportunities. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a perfect segue, because I was going to say with the general Australian gaming community in regards to sort of PAX Australia, it really, I mean, obviously coming over here for the first time was sort of, I guess we can call it a pilot in a way to see how it was going to work out, if it was something that was going to be ongoing, and obviously it's been incredibly successful. How do you find, or how much does the local community help or maybe even hinder, do you think, with the PAX? Mainly, I guess, the one thing that we do see is the ticket sales are a lot slower here than they are in the States for whatever reason. Are we just lazy?
Yeah, that's a very interesting way of looking at it. I mean, it's funny. PAX South, which happens over in San Antonio, has the same thing with ticket sales in terms of, they're a lot slower to actually pick up and sell out. I think, like, from the very first PAX Oz that we had in 2013 to the one that we've got now, I can't go into numbers because we don't go into numbers, but we have increased the capacity of the show by such a significant amount, and we got a lot of negative feedback after that first year of people really pissed off that they couldn't get a 3-day pass, that it sold out within. The original 3-day passes sold out within 24 hours in 2014.
I remember.
And that's not. I mean, on one hand, it's like, oh wow, you need to get in quickly, but on the other hand, that doesn't actually reflect well on us. That's not a good thing. That's something that we need to. That's a problem that we need to fix. So we fixed that. So when people are like, oh, it's not selling out as quickly, it's like, no, we've made the show bigger. Yeah, this is the point. This is the supply and demand. So no, I'm not too worried about that. And again, like, you look at PAX South and the way that it sells its tickets. I do think that in Australia there's a little bit more hesitancy to actually purchase a ticket without knowing what's at the show. But ironically, the beauty of a show like PAX is it's not built around celebrity or particular products to try and sell you to get into it. It shouldn't be about, oh, hey, this new game is going to be at the show, so buy a ticket in order to come and play it. It should be a case of, if you get a ticket, you're going to there's going to be too many experiences for you to actually have over the course of the weekend. It's going to be worth it to you. And that's my job. That's our job on this end, to make sure that it lives up to those expectations.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's the same for us too. We've certainly gotten into a pattern where we bring our own fun. We've got a massive posse of Perth people that head over together. This year
we've got 3 rows of a plane at this stage.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just brand the plane. This is great.
Oh, we are taking over the plane. We're going to play Werewolf and see how that goes down with the air hostess.
Excellent.
It's going to be sensational. So, quick chat. Imogen, how many days away are we now? Are we maintaining the hype?
We're at like 120. Oh, Guy, you probably know better than I do. You've probably got a countdown clock.
128.
No, I don't like looking at this number. I do not like that number. That number just reminds me how far I am away from doing all the things I need to do. No.
Nice.
You guys hold on to that.
We have a WhatsApp chat, and I think I update it about weekly with how many days, hours, minutes it is until kickoff time.
Oh god!
just a little bit excited. Just a little.
Oh, that's frightening.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, great, excellent.
Awesome. Yeah.
It's awesome. I very nearly missed out on a ticket the first year, actually. I was able to secure 3 separate one-day passes and do it that way, but I can completely relate to what you're talking about. It was a bit of a explosion out of nowhere, and now things seem to be chugging along at a pretty steady pace. But I mean, every year's either sold out or comes so ridiculously close that it's not really been an issue. Isn't that right? It's been full up from what I've seen.
Yeah, pretty much. Last year, pretty much, I think it sold out. The last ticket sold out a couple of days before the actual event happened. So I'm not too worried about that side of things, And like I said, we don't give out numbers. We don't talk about how many people come to the show. We don't even give the numbers to our exhibitors. Like, we really have gotten to the point where it's like, it shouldn't be about numbers or how many people have come to the show. This is what it is, and that's not what it's about. So
yeah, it does not matter. If you step foot inside the hall when things are happening, you immediately just feel the excitement wash over you. It doesn't, matter what figures on a page that is. It's a different kind of feeling.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a real feels.
You've been to a few different PAXs now, like overseas in the US as well, and experiencing the flavors at Prime, which is now West and South, and PAX East. What's your take on the differences? Is there anything that sort of really stands out between each of the different venues, and how Australia sort of sits to the side in particular? What have you picked up?
Oh man, I love this. This is some extensive questions here.
Yeah.
You've done your homework. This is great. PAX West and PAX East are huge, as in insanely huge. PAX West spreads out over 6 city blocks. They take over every hotel room that's possibly available, ballrooms and theaters and whatnot. It's more like a city celebration. PAX East reminds me the most of PAX Australia in terms of the layout and whatnot. I mean, the thing you've got to ask yourself, and which I constantly ask myself, is what are the things that make a PAX PAX? It's this almost indescribable. I hate to relate it back to like something like the castle, but it's the vibe of the actual event. It's the people that are actually at it. It's the people that are contributing to it, and the way we actually treat it and see it. But as long as we have that almost indescribable kind of vibe that we bring from the States to Australia, we'll always be okay. There's differences, of course, in terms of like the size and scale of exhibitors, in terms of the exclusives or the developers that we actually get. It's very hard to. Sometimes it's disheartening, sort of thing. I'm on all the calls with the guys over in Penny Arcade, going through the listings of panels that happen over in PAX West just recently, actually, and like they'll be going through panels, and we'll look at them, and it's like, oh, this panel is on this topic, and this one has, and we'll rattle through like 2 or 3 developers. That's like, Jesus, if those couple of developers came to Australia, they would be in the main theater doing an awesome, massive panel. But over in PAX West, because there's so much talent, so many people, it's like, yeah, we've already got a panel with that particular topic with some more high-profile people, so we're going to have to reject that one. So it's just, there's certain things like that affect the distance. But on the flip side, it also allows PAX Australia to have its own kind of flavor and for us to do our own things and actually experiment quite a bit. Excitingly, there's a bunch of stuff that happens at PAX Australia now that we've started over the last couple of years that didn't exist in the PAXs over in the States that now do. My personal favorite one is the PAX Rising area.
Yeah, the indie games. I was going to say. Yep.
Yeah, that was kind of an initiative on the Australian side where we wanted to actually highlight the indie developers from the region, but not put them in little trestle tables with black curtains and flyers. And look, we didn't want them to look cheap. So we actually created an area for them in a space that was like quite slick with those large background banner placements, so they could sit right next to your Microsofts and Ubisofts and the larger publishers and still look of a comparable quality. And we branded that to be the PAX Rising area in collaboration with Penny Arcade, and then that area then became a thing over in PAX South and PAX West and PAX East, which was hugely gratifying for us. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's by far, I mean, I think I speak for for all of us when I say that PAX Rising area is just amazing, and I spent 90% of my time there talking to people and just actually getting the people who are developed. It's not somebody who's been there to market or to sell it. It's actually the people who made the game, and they can talk to me about it's been great for these reasons, and this is the driver behind it. And even if they're just silly games, like being able to talk to them about it, I love it, and it's what we get to enjoy here in Perth. Is that our game industry? We have the Let's Play Games guys and the Perth Games Festival and that type of stuff, and to see that on that scale is just one of my favourite bits. I guess it's Yeah.
I was going to say it's immensely gratifying. I think one of the nice things about it exemplifies PAX to me in the respect that most of those indie games are not the kind of game. If you were to list out all of the indie developers and all the indie games that were at PAX, your general public, 90% of the general public, it wouldn't necessarily appeal. They'd be like, oh, okay, that's indie games. I don't know what that is, or I've never heard of that. I'm not going to buy a ticket to go and play that. But when they're there at PAX and they wander through that area, the discovery factor of actually finding these games and also indie titles are so, I know it's cliched, but innovative in terms of new technologies or design techniques or things like that. It is the most exciting area of the show, and yet it's not something that can really be promoted. It's like The Matrix. You need to see it for yourself.
That's
The
a really
movie
good
references
comparison.
are coming thick and
No
fast
pills
in this
necessary.
episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we'll
talking
see.
about sort of new areas and I guess indies and everything else, I guess gaming media is something that's really growing. I mean, obviously, you've got people like us popping up all over the place with podcasts. You've got your YouTubers, your general streamers, etc. How has that evolved, do you think, with PAX Oz? Well, I mean, it obviously changes the face of your media component, and how has that worked? Has that worked well for you? You think that's aiding you, or is that something that's becoming difficult to manage?
Oh, very good. Very savvy. So, interestingly, this year we're implementing a new feature. This is going to be very industry heavy here, but we previously, when you attend an event, you have a media pass. You know, if you're a qualified or registered media outlet or whatnot, you get a media pass, which at PAX gives you pretty much no privileges whatsoever. You get access to a media lounge, which is way smaller than you think, and with an internet connection slower than anywhere else. You do get access to the show a little bit earlier, but there's no line skipping privileges or VIP passes. We're very much believe that everyone should be on equal footing. There should be no VIPs or anything like that. But this year we are also doing a content creator badge to acknowledge the fact that there's a difference between gaming journalists and your YouTubers and Twitch streamers and content creators, to the point where we're actually also providing, for journalists and media, they need a media lounge, but for streamers, they need a space to be able to stream. So we're actually setting up Twitch streaming pods at the show for the content creator streamers that are turning up to be able to stream live
Nice.
from the show. So this is like a thing, a gradual evolution dealing with your content creators and media outlets to actually make sure that they can convey the show to their followers and whatnot in the best way.
I think that's
Cool.
awesome. That's a great idea. I mean, last year we were in the board game area next to a group of guys who we assume were podcasting, or they could have been doing some sort of deep military exercise. We're not sure.
Oh my
There was
God.
there was
How did
enough
you
tables
confuse
and
those?
cameras and mics on that table.
There was a black flag behind them with some strange symbols on it. I'm not quite sure what was going on.
Luke.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Oh my goodness. No, but they had, cameras set up sort of facing immediately down, and they were playing a board game, and they all had their full mics set up, and we couldn't figure out what was going on there. But
Oh, good for them. Guerrilla Gonzo podcasters. I love it.
it's the best.
Absolutely.
So we were just talking about media growth, and so PAX Oz is going to be in its 4th year now, and it's always growing and getting bigger. So what do you see as like the biggest growth areas that you guys have to accommodate for, that you're trying to always keep fresh and relevant and have to expand for?
Oh man, it changes each year. It changes, and the nice thing is it changes dependent on the gaming industry. But the 3 big ones for this year coming up, I can tell you right now, is VR, esports, and streaming. That's your 3 big ones. And keep in mind, like last year for me, it was probably esports again. Also, mental health was a big one, a pillar for me last year. In terms of like content that we focus on and whatnot. But yeah, VR is the big buzzword, I guess. Every second, I guarantee you, like every second or third indie developer will probably have an Oculus or a Vive on their booth. Sony will be there in a big way with PlayStation VR, obviously, and we're actually also in the same way that we do large free play areas of console free play and PC free play and handheld free play, we're going to be implementing a VR free play area. Oh man, I just said that. Maybe I shouldn't have said that.
Exclusive.
Well, hey,
Coming at you exclusive.
yeah. Hey, there you go. All right, we'll be doing a VR free play area as well. I mean, it's such an obvious step from our side of things to provide that for the gaming community.
Definitely.
VR is just such a big deal, and it's not going away anytime soon.
Good queue management strategy too. Start to get some of those lines out of the way. With people queuing up for those single station setups.
Oh, you know what? I gotta be honest with you, man. Like running conventions and things like that. So much of it comes down to a lot of your boring statistics in terms of people movement and how you actually move queues and how much time people spend it. So, like, you know, you've got one HTC Vive set up in a 3x3 meter space, which takes up a significant amount of room, and that person can only be in there for half an hour before they get moved on. So that's only 2 people per hour. So when you look over the course of like a 12-hour day, that's only 24 people that get to play that one HTC Vive. Was that worth the amount of space it took up? Like, there's a lot of factors that go into deciding, you know, things like that. But that's the boring stuff that we do.
I think you could learn quite a lot about humanity just by studying queues.
Get your fluid dynamics on.
Oh my god, yes, absolutely.
We took it to a next level last year. We decided to make queues a bit more fun, and we dressed up as a pack of Cards Against Humanity. We all chose a black card and a white card that was our favourite, and people took turns shuffling us around in lines. It was great fun.
Oh, very good. Very good. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
And now we have really offensive T-shirts that we never get to wear in public.
I don't know. I think there's always a good cause for tasteful side boob, personally.
Tasteful side boob.
You could get away with that one.
Titties. Yeah.
That one less so. Less so.
The problem is you kind of need to be lined up with the other cards. Oh no, that makes it worse, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, exponentially.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Fair enough.
So we just mentioned about like areas of growth. So what would be like your dream features that if you could put it in PAX Oz, what would you love for there to be that maybe isn't possible at the moment? Like, what if you could just pick 1 or 2 things you're like, yes, I would love to have that there. Is there anything that you would pick? Yeah,
for me, it's a lot of content and some exhibitors who are like high on my list. So, you know, a big one for me is Acquisitions Inc., which is a massive part of the PAXs over in the States. But it's such a huge thing to put together and get everyone involved. Mike and Jerry and Scott and Patrick and all the guys. I would love to get an Acquisitions Inc. down under, and don't think that I haven't been working my ass off to try and make that happen every single year of the show.
I love it. Every time I see everyone asking for Act Inc., they're like, I don't understand. Can't we just email people? I'm like, surely somebody's thought of that.
Yeah. Pretty sure someone's on it.
Yeah.
I actually, one of my favorite things is I get tagged on Twitter quite a bit with people that, you know, they've said, oh, you should, you know, they've tagged someone else on Twitter. You should come to PAX. I think I even had today Meg Turney sort of thing. It's like I got looped into a Twitter post. It's like Meg, you should come to PAX, and she's like, yeah, great. I'd love to come to PAX. To which I replied, as I always reply, being, of course, consider this your official invite. Come on down. Like, of course, come down to PAX. There's only. Yeah, I know. There's only so much, you know, we can facilitate sort of thing, and most of the people that come to PAX and do stuff here are you know, coming down here because they're part of a publisher or a developer or whatnot, so they've got the opportunity to do it. I'd love Valve to be here in Australia in any way, actually, to be honest. But as part of PAX in some particular way, I think that'd be a game changer and super exciting. Yeah. And there's the whole bunch of developers and personalities and people that are on my hit list that I keep, you know, talking to each year. And I reckon there's a good chance, you know, a lot of them will happen over the next couple of years. They love the idea of Australia. I don't really need to sell them on PAX. I just become a walking, talking Australian tourism advert. Come on down. Yeah, you go. Put up your.
Just be hello koalas. kangaroos, very much yes.
Yep.
Guy.
Ignore the spiders and snakes.
PAX getting bigger every year. So many more new places to hide a body. It's great.
My favorite bit is a lot of the time when I'm over at PAX South or West or East, I spend a lot of the time catching up with game developers or publishers or personalities over there, trying to convince them to come to PAX Australia. And like I said, I don't need to explain PAX, I need to sell Australia. So I put on like the most full-on Australian accent. Like just imagine a cross between like the biggest bogan and Steve-O and like, g'day mate, how you doing? No, come to PAX Australia. It'll be great. You can fight a kangaroo and hug a koala. She'll be right too easy. Struth, come on down. You know, like the full. I hate myself. I hate myself as I'm doing it. But surprisingly it works sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. That is some ridgy-ditch whoring right there.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no. Well, how you doing on the old lungs there? You want to take a break and we can chat about some game stuff that we've all been playing?
Yeah, go for it.
Cool. All right, well, so lots of PAX stuff to look forward to. Let's dive into what we've actually been playing recently and at the moment. I think it's only right that we sort of start with the guest and, what have you actually been playing, Yog? Because you're obviously a gamer at heart and you do this sort of stuff when you're not working yourself silly. So is there anything that's caught your eye at the moment that you've been seeking some playtime into?
Oh, you jerk. I think that the last game that I had time to actually finish was Uncharted 4, so that's a little bit out of date now. And I gotta say, like, I'm one of those people that obsessively plays like your iPad, iPhone games and whatnot, but not even the new stuff. I'm sorry, but the last week I've gotten an obsession again with FTL. So I've literally just been playing that over and over again to try and get to the secret area to get the... Oh, God, I don't even want to go into it. This is embarrassing.
It's because you secretly hate yourself because that game just kicks you in the dick every now and then, just randomly.
Oh, my God, it really does. And, like, you just waste so much time. Like, you get up to the third area, the third world, and then it's like, oh, and you're up against a ship that's vastly overpowered. And
here's a Death Star.
Yeah, and then it's like, well, I'll just restart because there's no point continuing because I won't be able to finish it. And I hate myself. Well played. Yes, you're absolutely right.
Oh, no. That sounds a lot like my Hearthstone relationship, just quietly. Sounds a lot like
that's
that.
a special relationship, Luke.
It is a very special relationship.
A real problem.
Actually, I will mention one other game. This is embarrassing but kind of funny. That I installed the other day, and again, it's another iPad game, and I do have Overwatch. Can I just to actually jump into some credibility points here? Like I have Overwatch, but I kind of feel there's no point talking about Overwatch because everyone's playing Overwatch, right? Mm-hmm. So I downloaded a game on the iPad the other day called Con Man, and Con Man is an app based on Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk's series about people that are involved in conventions. So Con Man is an iOS game about running a pop culture convention. And it's set up...
Now, if you playing that is not the most masturbatory thing I've ever heard of, I don't know what is.
And, like, it's really frustrating as well. Like, I'm like, no, that's not how it fucking works. You don't do that. That's wrong. But I'm still playing it. And I think you're right, Oliver. I think it's because I hate myself. So, yeah.
I heard very similar things with the YouTube simulator and a lot of YouTubers going, no, I wish it was like that. What the fuck?
Yeah, I cannot cast stones in this regard. I have a bad addiction to bad iPad games. I'm still playing You Must Build a Boat. I still haven't built that game.
Oh, wow. That's
oh, bless.
Time sink. Yeah, well, meanwhile, Ollie and I have been tucking into last year's leftovers in the form of The Witcher 3, so...
Mine's the expansion, at least. Mine's at least relatively recent.
That's true. And mine's just a poorly conceived, way to play more digital card games, so...
Exactly right. As we established last week, you have a problem.
How's the expansion treating you? What's going on with that?
It's gone pretty good, actually. I only put an extra hour into it this week because I've been fairly busy. So I'm now picking up the trail of the main quest, which is good. Mm-hmm. So moving along with that. I can't give too much away because it is just massive spoilers. Yeah. But I feel like the combat runs better for some reason. I don't know whether because I've just put in sheer hours of the game or they've actually polished it somewhat. I'm not sure. Okay. But the combat feels better.
Is that because you're at the point now where you've got a bunch of abilities that sort of synergize with each other and you can pull off different, stacked combos, or is it the enemies or something totally different?
I genuinely can't put my finger on it. I feel it's a combination? Question mark?
So high.
Oh, look. My throat's going to feel that tomorrow. But I generally cannot put my finger on whether it's because I'm synergizing better because I've played ridiculous hours of it, or because they have implemented something mechanical. Like, I feel like I am not just going shield, have a spell, quick attack, dodge.
Yeah.
Like, it's a bit more than that now for some reason, which is nice.
Nice. Have you played Witcher 3, Yug? Is that something you've had experience with?
No, I'm sorry.
I think you need time for that one.
Yeah, you do. And the embarrassing thing is, my housemate was actually is a well-known cosplayer, and she was actually the official cosplayer for Yennefer in The Witcher. And so every time that this comes up in this house, because she got the expansion and all this kind of stuff, she's like, yeah, I'm going to play it. And she's talking about it, and she talks about Gwent and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I haven't played it. And I just get this look from her that's like, you need to move out. We can't live together. This is. I don't like you. So
Our friendship is done.
yeah, exactly. But I also have a slight issue with playing a game called The Witcher 3 without playing The Witcher 1 and 2. And I know that's totally irrational. It's a little bit of an OCD thing. I had the same thing with Mass Effect, so don't judge me too badly. I'm sorry.
No, I'd say that's fair.
Yeah, I wouldn't judge you on Mass
that's
Effect,
fair.
that's for sure. That's definitely a, play them one at a time kind of affair, for sure.
Sure, yeah.
No, but Witcher. I mean, I've just jumped in at Witcher 3 without having played the other two at all, and I'm finding it reasonably easy to pick up. There is one really awkward bit early on though, where you're actually getting interviewed by a military general who's basically quizzing you on some of the events that you've been involved in, to sort of suss out your motivations and whether you're a trustworthy sort or you're honourable and that kind of thing. And you are basically asked about events that I can only assume have actually taken place in the previous games. And he actually says, if you do not answer truthfully, there could be some serious, ramifications here, leading up to, being tried for lying to the king and that sort of thing. And I'm just like, well, crap, I don't know the answer to these questions. I'm just going to make it up as I go along. So I hope that's what happened. Yeah. So, Ollie, is that something that, like, the way the previous games played out, like, literally any of those options could have happened, or is there actually a correct answer for each of those questions?
I want to say it's essentially the game going, like, is this what you did last time?
Yeah.
Because you didn't load the thing up.
Narrative
I want to
filling.
say it's that.
Yeah.
Like, it's just them going, okay, so what choices did you actually make? Okay, cool, just making sure.
That's definitely the impression I got. So,
yeah.
But it
It's
had
not
a
going to be like, wrong, head off, restart
Exactly, yeah.
game.
But it was a good
So FTL.
double purpose because it kind of fills you in a little bit on some of the back history that you need to know is relevant. So, which
For
was
people like you that were heathens and didn't play the first two.
yeah, that's right. It's too busy probably playing Minecraft or something like that. I've got no idea. So the other thing I'm finding really interesting about the game now that I've sunk a bit more time into it is I'm finding a lot of comparisons between Witcher 3 and Dragon Age Inquisition because both of them came out at relatively similar times. Dragon Age was out first by a few months, I think. And there's a lot of mechanics between the two games that I'm finding quite similar. But one thing that really puts The Witcher above and beyond in my mind is the story elements, particularly combined with some of the investigatory parts, where you actually are forced to use your Witcher senses, which are kind of like, for anyone who's played the Arkham games and have seen the scenes where Batman sort of investigates the crime scene and he turns on his, his X-ray sort of feature where he can see, previous footsteps of where people have traversed, or even in the Division with the the echoes in the Division, that kind of thing. You can see where people have been, what they've interacted with, and that sort of stuff. It's like that, and you actually need to progress some of the plot lines by working out, what previous characters have done, who they've murdered, if there was a fight there, what monster are we hunting, that kind of stuff, which I find is really interesting. It sort of breaks up the pacing with the story.
I have a question for you for that. Do you find them too easy? As in, like, it's a lot of stuff. It's like often like, I didn't need special Witcher sense for that. I just needed eyes.
With some of the stuff that you have to interact with, definitely. When it comes to some of the story pacing elements, not so much. So I think it's a good mix. Yeah, I get what you're saying, though. But it's not. It doesn't feel like it's been shoehorned in for the sake of it, which is how I felt in where that mechanic's used in some other games. It feels like it actually does serve the story.
The smell stuff works very well, I found.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's good. Yeah, Witcher 3, cool game. It's a good one to pick up if you have a spare 90 plus odd hours.
Would recommend.
So yeah.
So, confession time. What did we buy on the Steam sale?
Yes.
Confession booth time.
Definitely, I haven't bought anything yet, but I do think that Corgi Warlock will be high on the list, as well as Chameleon Spy. The Steam sale's great for picking up games that I'm interested in, but I wouldn't spend more than $1 on.
I'm sorry, I have to jump in here. Corgi Warlock?
Oh my goodness. So if you look it up on Steam and read the description and don't want to play this game, then
doing it now.
Not a real person.
I'm just dead inside, obviously, yeah. Okay, all right.
Corgi.
So it is currently
Warlock.
99 cents.
That's a good price.
It's a good price. It's a fair price.
Oh my god, the art is amazing. Holy shit.
So for fans of the podcast, obviously I love everything to do with cool art in games. So that's what, obviously, and it's called Corgi Warlocks. I was on board.
It's got
the
co-op.
description includes narwhals and fantastical creatures, and I got about halfway through and yes, I want to own this game and add to wish list.
And corgis, right? And corgis. I feel this
exactly
is...
right. The most
play
regal
as
of the
the
dogs.
corgi.
Yeah.
You play as the corgi?
Yeah, you are the Corgi Warlock.
Corgi
Who is a
Warlock.
warlock? Oh, okay. All right. Well done.
He just laser beamed a giant unicorn thing.
Yeah.
Great.
So-
I love these kind of games. It's the kind of games you can imagine game designers coming up with at 3 a.m. in the morning with like a whole bunch of like, tokes going, yeah, what if we combine to make a corgi, a warlock? Oh, that's fucking brilliant. Let's do it.
You know those industry mixes that you've been running recently? Yeah, this is what happens.
Corgi Warlock is a product of one of those, probably.
Exactly. Genius.
There's a pug. Your friends can be the pug.
See, I don't even have to sell it. For 99 cents, I will be picking that
Done.
up.
Added.
Slime
Boom.
Rancher mysteriously has only gone down to $15 US. That's a steep price for a game where you effectively just gather up goop in cages. Spy Chameleon RGB Agent is like a little puzzle game as well, and that's like $2.50. So,
Is
but
that
all of the
RGB out as in red, green, blue, the colour schematic?
What do you think, Lee?
It must be. For chameleons, come on.
Luke put his brain on today.
Oh, look, the tie-ins aren't always that obvious, but that's pretty classy. I like that.
It's the best. The most disappointing thing for me is there wasn't any sort of big discounts on the bigger games I was looking to pick up, which is a shame.
There's some good discounts on a little game called Mass Effect and Mass Effect 2.
Yeah, then that's what I was going to say.
Those little indie titles.
I know that I got absolutely hammered in our WhatsApp the other day for not having had played iterations of that game. So I will be picking up at least the first one as instructed.
It's like the PC game equivalent of not having or knowing what Game of Thrones is.
Yep. Or having never watched the Star Wars
And
films.
I would be ashamed if I was that person. So I will pick that up
Fair.
and just somehow shoehorn that into, day job and study and,
and that sort of stuff, yeah.
Times.
And finishing
Luke.
Ori in the Blind Forest. Yeah.
Well,
that should be your like New Year's resolution.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too much pressure.
may not progress into 2017 until you have completed these tasks.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
All right, Luke, what did you buy? Go on.
Well, on the topic
Sounded
of
guilty.
looking for bigger titles that had received significant discounts, the one that I was really keen on picking up if it did get discounted significantly was Rise of the Tomb Raider. And fortunately it did, so I grabbed that. And I'm determined to finish that before Memo does. Which is
If
not going to be
history
hard.
is your guide, should not be difficult.
No,
Yeah, I
I
think
don't
it'll
think
be fine.
Imogen's. I mean, how far into that are you, Imogen? You've played a bit.
Let's say, 20%.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Point made.
20 minutes.
So I'll be playing that, and I got to say, the Steam sale.
It's been a big year, so guess what?
The Steam sale being directly after E3 was not a good thing for keeping the wallet under control. So I also picked up South Park: The Stick of Truth.
Good choice.
Brilliant.
Yep. Which I'm looking forward to playing. And what was the other one I picked up? Darkest Dungeon, of course, because we're reviewing that this month. And I was also... I grabbed the Jackbox party pack as well.
Yep.
Yes.
Party pack on sale?
It's a very small discount, but I was going to grab that pretty much anyway. So yeah.
Is this the Party Pack 1 or 2?
2. It is 2. Not
Yeah.
including the new Drawful 2, which launched about a week ago. I think that's actually separate to the pack at the moment. So
It is.
Yep.
It is, yeah. So, funny side story. At Comic-Con in Melbourne a couple of weeks ago, we tested for the first time a space on the show floor for Jackbox. I'm a big fan of the Jackbox games, and I like the idea of the fact that people can use their mobile phones to actually log in and play them, right? So
Yeah.
it seems like the perfect thing to actually do at a convention, in my mind. I will say, You Don't Know Jack works great. What's the other one where you guess you put in the
Fibbage.
Fibbage.
Yep.
Fibbage works fantastic. The one that doesn't so much work at a convention is Drawful.
Did you just get penises?
So many dicks. Oh my god, just
Too
dicks
many
everywhere.
dicks.
Too many dicks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's just no way to stop it. Like you know, everyone, they have to draw their profile image, right? And like you just get people drawing dicks, and you don't. The thing is, you don't know who's drawn the dick because they're all on their own mobile phones. So you stop it, you restart it, and you have to be like, okay, everyone, come on, we're gonna play like a PG family friendly version of
Oh,
this.
good luck with that.
Let's give this another go, and then there's twice as many dicks.
Yeah.
It was actually like it's asking for it really.
That is the equivalent of, I'm just going to leave you with this giant red button. Whatever you do, don't push it. Kind of
Yeah.
instructions. Yep.
I realize that now. So
Nice.
Yeah. And even when we play it, just us, that happens. So.
Oh, yeah. We need to play the new one at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
All right.
Ollie, did you pick up anything else?
I did,
Yeah.
and only recently today as well. So I picked up just then Corgi Warlock. Good choice, Imogen. I thank you for that. I picked up Battle Block Theatre because it's something that I haven't played on PC, so I need to play that. Space Engineers, because I've seen some of that and that looks just hilarious fun.
Oh, you introduced me to that a little while ago, I remember. Yep.
It just looks good. An intriguing one called Sunless Sea, which is like a top-down Cthulhu-esque like steamship horror exploration game.
You love your
Just
tentacles.
sounds cool. I am a fan of the hentai, apparently. That's a lie, just in case you're wondering. But
Right, sure.
I picked up Life is Strange because I've been meaning to play that, and now it was like $2, I think, and I'm like, that's an acceptable price. And Dead by Daylight because I really, really wanted to play that, and that got a decent discount from the Steam sale. So I was like, done. I don't mind being a serial killer.
Nice. Well, I got to say, good job, team, in sorting out our content for the next couple of months. It's good job. Yep.
Yeah, Corgi Warlock episode upcoming.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
please, I could happily do that if the art is anything to go by.
Is it actually a new release, or has it been out a while?
Oh, God, no.
No, not at all.
Okay.
It has very positive reviews
Okay.
Of course
from
it does.
non-corgi lovers.
It's an Imogen recommendation, of course it is.
Nice.
Hey, look, Had-a-Full Boyfriend, you got a lot to answer for that game.
Oh, that
Oh,
game was
God.
brilliant. Show your face.
oh god,
Yeah, we did actually review this on the show a couple of months back, Yug, and
oh god.
it ended
Much
up
to
probably
Luke's
exactly how you'd
chagrin.
expect.
You just walking through the city, you just never look at pigeons the same way again.
You've got that
Yeah.
lust now.
I know.
Played a dating sim and ended up starting a bike gang instead of ending up in a relationship. So, life.
Oh god! All right, well let's close out the show with a brief sort of swim into the tepid pool of gaming news this week. And I do mean tepid pool because we've had some pretty horrific stuff coming out of the UK with all of the Brexit shenanigans. So, have you got anyone that you know that's been sort of impacted by all of that drama over there at the moment, or is that thankfully something you haven't had to have your eye on much?
They're still trying to figure it out. I think for me, like I know a lot of friends over there who are gaming developers. I mean, the UK has such a rich history of game development, and they're just the industry bodies that represent them are trying to figure things out, especially when it comes to trade, but also funding. Funding amongst game developers is such a big issue, and here in Australia, like we're all very acutely aware of it, where it comes from and the benefits for it and whatnot. But in the UK, like there was a lot of that funding came from your general European regions, and And we hear about Ubisoft Montreal or like your different companies that have their setups in different parts of Europe, but their home base of operations is in the UK. So, I mean, it's not necessarily immediately affecting anyone, but it throws a lot of question marks over the top of a lot of those guys. So it's weird. It's very weird. Everyone's just trying to figure it out,
Or everyone seems to be like just holding pattern. Like everyone just wait and see what happens, but no one's doing anything.
What's going to happen next?
Yes.
Well, it's interesting. Like we had Garth Pendergrass from Stir-Fi Studios on recently to chat about his trials and tribulations trying to achieve funding for his indie projects. And I can imagine for indie studios or startups over there that are trying to attract, the investors and the venture capitalists and that sort of thing, when the market, hits a point like this where it's so uncertain, actually getting people to commit to that kind of investment is going to be really, really difficult. So that's a big blow to them, I'd expect.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think the other issue that will probably impact a lot of the businesses over there in development will be when it comes to attracting talent to actually migrating over to the UK and putting down roots. It's going to be hard to encourage people to come over when things are a little bit weird at the moment. So hopefully they can still get the talent that they need, because that would be a horrible thing to have to deal with. Not knowing if your team that you're working with is going to be on a safe footing for the next X number of years. That would be a horrible thing as a business to deal with. So
yeah, very much so. Even just like the developers that travel between. I mean, the other thing is when you're a game developer, you tend to bounce around between studios quite a bit, especially over in Europe. So the idea of having difficulty working in as a developer that's not part of the UK or whatnot, it's a bit of a daunting prospect. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
For sure. Well, let's move on to something a bit more fun. And we were talking about Mass Effect just before. So some interesting breaking news on the upcoming plans for Mass Effect Andromeda later next year. So we know that Andromeda's due early 2017. But there's been a lot of questions about what's going to happen with regards to the link between the original Mass Effect trilogy and Mass Effect Andromeda, because there's obviously for anyone who's played the games, there was some fairly, let's say,
game-changing events.
Game-changing things that happen at the end, yeah. Absolutely. So apparently there is going to be a series of novels coming out from Titan Books, and those novels are actually going to act as both a prequel and sequels to the events in the games and will become part of the overarching saga. So
just please don't be awful.
Yeah.
Please
Well,
don't
it's
be
interesting.
crap. Yeah.
Yeah, please don't be shit. Please don't be shit.
So I should probably get on playing those games, huh?
Yep. Well, I mean, this is going to be one of those situations where you could probably read the books and then play the games and be confused one way or the other. I don't know how that's going to work. First one is going to be called Mass Effect Andromeda Initiation, due out in August this year. And then we're looking at others slated for 2017 and possibly 2018 as well. So, yeah.
As long as they don't go the way of Winds of Winter, I'm happy.
Absolutely. That could be HBO's next big thing after Game of Thrones. Let's do a Mass Effect show. That'd be great.
I would jizz my pants on the spot. I'd be like, time to change my pants.
Wow.
Yep. But I mean,
even if they get the ending slightly wrong.
Yes.
yeah, I got to say,
it'd be less, but there'd still be a little bit in there.
They can't really adhere to the canon with that one because of how different it is for everybody anyway. So it's a interesting.
Really,
idea.
It wasn't that different, to be fair.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. As far as major character arcs and deaths and that kind of thing, there'd be a huge argument over the main point of view character being male or female, though. That would be an interesting one. So
yeah, look, I can't see Andromeda and Mass Effect trilogy, like the original one, being connected, apart from being like, yes, they're set in the same universe. The end. I can't see them like carrying over like that.
Well, speaking of carrying over and fairly strongly established universes, Sonic the Hedgehog, remember that guy?
He's blue and fast and has an addiction to rings.
One of my favourite nostalgic moments.
So he's 25 years old now, and we've actually just had an announcement of the next Sonic game coming out next year, apparently. So an announcement that pretty much didn't really surprise a lot of people.
No,
I'm guessing.
no one was shocked.
No. The Sonic games are still fun. My son has one that he plays regularly, but it's interesting because there's actually been a bit of Sonic stuff in the media lately. I don't know if you are aware. There's actually an official Sonic the Hedgehog Twitter account, and recently Sonic was throwing some shade at the launch of Mighty Number 9. So it sent out a tweet. Congrats on the launch, Mighty Number 9. Yeah. It's better than nothing.
Yeah.
So just hold on to put that one in context though, like the because I need to defend this one a little bit because I'm a backer of Mighty Number 9. But the developer of Mighty Number 9, when he was doing the live stream of the game at launch, when his description for it, when like someone was saying, the graphics, then are they quite there? Yeah, are you happy with it? His response as the developer of the game was, "It's better than nothing."
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Yeah, you probably deserve all you get.
Confidence in your product.
Yeah.
And then there's Sonic the Hedgehog's official Twitter account saying it's better than nothing, and it's kind of like Sonic, pot, kettle black, easy there, right? Easy. You're not exactly, Yeah.
I've always thought that Hedgehog guy was a bit of a prick anyway, so,
I hate you so much.
Hey-oh.
Right, we're at that point. Okay.
Yep.
We've reached
No,
that
we never
point.
left that point with this guy. That's the sad part.
As long as they leave in some of those original sounds that just remind me of being a youngling.
I'm amazed they even
playing
remaster them.
Sonic the Hedgehog,
Just keep the same sound. Save yourself some extra work.
Yeah.
Great. But here's the question. When was the last Sonic game that you played? Think about this, actually. When was
Sega
the
Master
last
System 2.
Yep.
Master System? Really? Whoa,
Yep.
whoa. Really?
Yep, that was the last Sonic game I played, Sega Master System 2.
1 or 2? Sonic the Hedgehog 1 or 2, though?
I think it was 1.
Did you play the Mega Drive versions?
Not that I can remember.
Oh my god, you've got so much to look forward to. You should play them on the Mega Drive, the Mega Drive versions of Sonic 1 and 2. It will be like an HD remake of the Master System versions for you. You'll love it.
Interesting. I actually played Sonic 2 recently, but I played it on the iPad, of all places.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
How did that work, actually? Was it alright?
Was not bad. I mean, the control scheme is relatively simple because you think back to the controllers back then. There wasn't a whole lot of buttons. Yeah. And it worked fine. I mean, my son could handle it fine, and he was running around the levels and clearing stuff and getting a fair number of rings. So if he could handle it, with his limited dexterity, I'm sure it wasn't too bad.
You got no chance, Luke.
Yep.
You're screwed.
I don't have trump hands, man.
I've
Come
seen
on.
you play Minecraft. And GTA 5.
Yeah, well, that's a whole other. That's a whole other
Quiet
kit
little
and caboodle.
fucking get. Remember who edits?
All right, well, let's move on to someone else to throw some shade at. What about Oculus? They like to be a target at the moment. So, but it appears that we've got a little bit of good news for Rift owners and potentially HTC Vive owners, because Oculus has very, very quietly, very casually stopped blocking the Vive from actually running Rift exclusives, which was the big controversy in recent weeks. So there was Revive, which was an effort launched recently, which allowed people to run the exclusive Oculus games on the HTC Vive created. And Oculus, of course, as we mentioned in a previous news segment, they responded by basically instigating a hardware check stage, which was part of its DRM. But now the company's removed that check, which is much to the surprise of the creators of Revive. So it seems like they're peddling back on something that's gotten them a fair bit of ire from gamers in recent history. Yeah, so, but it's a weird situation because, I mean, Oculus very, very early on, before the Facebook acquisition days, were vocally all about the idea of their platform and their games being able to be used on just about anything as long as they were selling games. They were happy and
hold on. That was before they had competition.
True, that is true.
Minor detail.
You need to think of, and it kind of is a little bit like this, of the Vive and the Oculus and PlayStation VR, and even like your Samsung or your mobile VRs. Think of them like the Nintendo, Sega consoles of like the early 90s. They really are at that point where they are gunning for the exclusives, where they are gunning for to be the VR platform, to own all other VR platforms, and they're all aiming for it at the moment. It's fascinating, and whoever whoever loses, we win. So it's good.
Yep. It harkens back to the early console war days. It's just a new brand of that kind of thing going on at the moment. But it's really interesting sort of seeing the contrast between, Oculus and Vive are probably the big two at the moment, where one has really locked down on their opinion around exclusives. And, Vive has really sort of put forward as being this open sort of organization that's very, very keen on seeing, less of that. And they think it's actually bad and it's hurting the industry. So, diametrically opposed viewpoints from two developers that are, competition with each other. It's an interesting thing to keep an eye on at the moment. It's a bit of a soap opera at times, but I think, the business side of things is really interesting.
That's all. That's why we have Twitter, though, right?
That's right.
I just play video games.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. All right, well, just to wrap up on the stuff that we've got this week, we've also got a bit of Twitch news. So Twitch has just announced that they are rolling out a new cheering platform, which is basically a tip enabling platform to use in their chats during live streams. So there was actually a method for people to tip, streamers previously, but this is more of a new packaged one with custom emotes and badges alongside it. And the way it works is you can buy a certain number of tokens or credits, or what were they called, Imogen? They actually have a particular name for these things.
Bits? Were they called bits?
Yeah, bits, that's the one. So they're basically allowing people to pre-purchase these bits, and the way I look at it is it's almost like when you go into a strip bar and you get your fake money. You can slip it in. I don't know anything about these things.
We're going to continue with the analogy? Okay, cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was going to say casino with poker chips, but all right.
That's probably a more mainstream one. Let's go with that. And you basically can hand them out to whichever streamer you're watching just by using a simple chat command, and depending on how many.
Into the
super
underwear.
weird. Yeah,
exactly.
It's
Slot
so
it into
weird.
your underwear. Yeah. And it will take a different shape depending on how many.
You can make it rain for them, Luke. Make it rain.
That's it. Yeah.
That should be the emote for the 10,000. Should just be someone making it rain.
Just make it
Yeah,
rain.
and it's actually just thousands of the little $1 ones just going, or the little ones just going.
Well, interesting you say that, because I think today what we've started to see is that Twitch are rolling it out to a couple of people, and it's in quote-unquote beta while they figure some things out. But there has been already a lot of chatter with some streamers having to set minimums because they're a bit worried about the level of spam of these emotes in their actual channels and their impact on their ability to run still effective chats in between those sort of emote spam. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out, because streamers have been given the opportunity to set those limits, which is fair enough, but the reaction of a lot of people has been that it's in the form of greed, which is interesting because there's always been the opportunity to tip and you're not being forced to, you don't have to, and so it's just one of those things that they're setting a minimum so that they don't get 10,000 1 bit little emotes coming out, and that gives everyone still the opportunity
I'd say I'm pretty sure they wouldn't mind having 10,000 $1 donations.
Yeah, probably not. Probably
Why
not
not
at
a
all.
dollar,
Please give me
though?
more money.
It's
I'm
the
so
worst.
sad.
Yeah. So, and that's been a lot of the comments of a lot of streamers come back and say it's not greed. What we're trying to do is ensure that we can still have a conversation and this is still a two-way engagement.
Yep.
Otherwise, you can just watch it replayed on YouTube later. So.
It's not much different to how some stores, a while back when we were changing our currency over to removing the 1 and 2 cent pieces in the Australian sort of market, a lot of stores made the active decision to stop accepting 1 and 2 cent pieces, and that was within their rights to do so. So they don't want to, have a whole bunch of crap come through their tills, and I see this as sort of the same sort of thing. You know?
I can appreciate both sides of the argument.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping in my head when I first read, that Twitch was rolling out this streaming platform, I was kind of hoping it'd be kind of like Periscope or the new Facebook Live, where you just got little coloured hearts like floating across the screen at random stages, depending on what happens. I thought that would be kind of cool, but apparently not the case. And those Twitch chats, honestly, move at a rate of speed that my brain cannot comprehend anyway. So we will see how that pans out.
So you watch it on YouTube, is what you're saying?
No, I watch Twitch, but I don't watch gaming on Twitch. I watch Dungeons and Dragons.
I watch other nerdy things that everyone here is completely okay with.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, none of us are going to judge you on this.
No, it's a new thing for me. I'm learning. But
Learning how to geek.
Yeah.
That's
well,
it.
I've always geeked, just not in public.
Mm-hmm,
So I started a podcast. Yeah. No, but I have absolutely no idea if these emotes are going to add on top of the other emotes that are appearing on Twitch. It's going to be a bit hectic, so we'll see how that all pans out.
Absolutely. You much of a Twitch watcher, Yug? Is it something you spend any time doing?
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, I watch a lot, and I couldn't even tell you what I watch because I don't even care. It's channel surfing for me.
Yeah.
Like, I'll get home and throw on Twitch, and there's a LOL stream. All right, fine. Yeah, it's switch off the background stuff for me for the most part. So I love it, but hate it at the same time.
Yeah. It's a black hole that you get sucked into and do laps before you realize how far you've gone. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I don't even have like my TV. It's not even plugged into an aerial or like any live particular channel. This is the thing. We all live off Netflix and streaming services, and so Twitch is pretty much if I need some immediate, I don't want to make a decision what I'm watching kind of thing, which is what TV used to be for me. Now it's Twitch. So
Yeah.
Yep.
it's interesting.
I agree completely. I have a nice big shiny new TV. Haven't watched a single free-to-air thing on it. It's just been pure internet.
Yeah.
Mine's YouTube at the moment, but maybe I should look up the Twitch app on my Xbox.
Yep. All right, well, speaking of cheering and cheers, I think we can cheers it there and adjourn for the evening. So good job, everyone. Thanks very much for coming on and spending the time this evening, Yug. It's been great having you.
It's all good. I'm the temp jam for the evening. Might I also say that during this podcast, I have actually registered the domain name tempjam.com,
Oh my
and it
goodness.
actually now redirects to the Party Loaded website.
Oh, sensational. He's a
That's
good
amazing.
man. Yep.
Yeah.
We need to come up with some stuff for that. I think there could be some ideas there. We'll
Don't waste this opportunity, guys.
no. All we need to do is catch up over a few drinks, and I'm sure some magic will happen.
I'm sure.
Different sort of
sure
magic,
it will.
Luke. Different sort of magic.
Whoa.
Absolutely. Oh, well, anyway, before we sign off completely, Yug, is there anything you want to spruik or promote or shamelessly plug? The floor is yours, my friend.
No.
That's the best.
And I'm done.
Look, if anyone listening doesn't, I've already talked about everything I do, guys. Like, I don't know, go to PAX.
Pretty much. Definitely go to PAX. We will all see you there. But in the meantime, if you want to see what Yug's doing, you can follow him on Twitter @Yugstar. GameHugs.com is a thing. Check that out. It's a really cool show. Really, really good. And yeah. Good
That's
work,
great.
man.
You did all the spooky for me. This is perfect. Thank you.
I was kind of ready. Yeah.
All right.
It's just a service we provide. Anyway, that is it for this week. Thanks, everyone. If you want to hit us up at the usual places, you can email us, mail at partyloaded.com. We are on Twitch, Twitter, @partyloadedshow. Got Twitch on the brain. And, of course, facebook.com/partyloaded. You can find us as well. Next week is our Party Game of the Month review episode. We will be playing and reviewing Darkest Dungeon. So if you want to check that out, listen in. And, of course, we'll be looking for new suggestions for our Party Game of the Month. So get those suggestions in. You can drop that in via any of the methods I just mentioned. So
Feel free to email us copious amounts of Corgi Warlock. I will appreciate it.
Oh, look, I'm happy to. I'm happy to play Corgi Warlock.
It's probably the only way I'll play that game is that if that appears and gets drawn on our list.
It doesn't look like Hatterful Boyfriend, Luke.
Okay.
You're fine.
All right. Tentative. I'll check it out after we're done. All right. Well, anyway, good evening, everyone, and we'll see you all next week. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
The Party Loaded podcast is a Channel Endgame production. For this and more great gaming content, bookmark channelendgame.com.